my name is Sandra from Crafts of Ireland, and in this video I am going to show you how to make one of the pictures from our kids' poppy fields. This is a beautiful bright picture. It's using wool from our own sheep that we have hand dyed, so lots of colour and shading going through it. So join me and we will quickly make this picture and give you all the details on how it's done. So the first thing we need to make a needle felted picture, and if you buy a kit from us, everything is in it. You need a cushion to support your work and protect your needles. You need some fabric to lay down that you're going to felt your work into. And then you need all the wools in the different colours that are going to create your picture. And apart from the blue-faced Leicester locks, which come from a neighbouring farm, all of this wool is from our own rare breed Roscommon sheep, a native Irish breed. So join me and we will get the picture made. So with all of the pictures, I do the background first. We start with the sky, we put in the greens if it's flowers or hills, and then we lay the details on top. And this is what we're going to use for our poppies. Beautiful red, and you can see the way that it's dyed with different shades going through it, so it makes the job really easy and gives a really nice look to the picture. So first of all, we're going to take our sky. So we're taking some of the blue, and I am going to open that up. So to open fibres, I always pull them out lengthways. I like to keep them all faced the same direction. So I pull my fibres out lengthways and lay them back. So it's just pull gently and lay back. You don't want to pull hard on them or you're going to break the fibres. So nice and gently pull them out. Lay them back on top of each other. Sometimes because these are hand shorn, there will be slight little double cuts in them. So we'll pick out that little bit. It's natural in fleece. When we have our fibres lined up and we have our colours blended, place the fibres under your left hand if you're right-handed. Pull them across nice and evenly across the fabric. So you can see here, I'm just laying them down nice and evenly, pulling them across. I just want to tidy in our edges. And that is another little bit I don't want, so I'll just pop that out. And there might be a little bit of grass or vegetable matter in it, which again is natural because they graze our fields. But we can pick them out if they're in our way. If you don't think you have enough fibre in any place, you can just open up an extra little bit and add it in. Then I'm going to take a needle. Just be careful with your needles to always felt straight up and straight down with them. There's no flexibility in these needles because they are originally designed for industrial felting machines. So as long as you work straight up and straight down, you'll have absolutely no problems. Work your way around it. You just need to drive the needle in far enough for the barbs to catch the fibre and push them into the fabric. You can see the way the fibres are pushing through. So work your way around the piece and all them fibres into place. If you're new to this, do watch your fingers. The needles are very sharp. But with 3D felting or with 2D felting, you don't need to have your other hand very much in the way, except when you're doing the smaller detail pieces. So that's the first part. If you have some holes in your work, you can just lift it, give it a gentle rub, and you will lift those out. Some fibres are more inclined to leave holes in an appearance of holes in your work, whereas we're lucky with this fibre, it felts very well, and it's very easy to lift any marks off. So that's our sky laid down. Next thing is, if we want, we can add a little bit of orange and yellow to give us a sunset. Not absolutely necessary. You could leave this bit out if you want. Sometimes it's nice though to have an extra little bit of colour. It's almost like an evening picture then. These are added extremely lightly. Just want the tiniest amounts of fibre. And we'll leave them there like that. And very, very lightly felt them down into your blue. It's just the tiniest amount. Open them out a little bit more if they're inclined to clump on you. Let's take them and spread them out a little bit more. And that's it. We've just got a little extra colour in the background, so you can figure out how much of that you want to do. Next thing is we're going to go in with our greens. And again, these are hand dyed. So you can see the way that I've pulled from a few different dye pots. We have quite a selection of greens. And I'm going to add them to the picture. If you've watched any of my previous videos, if I'm doing grass or something that looks like it's growing, I will always keep the locks intact and use them in the direction the grass is growing and place them down, keeping our tips in place. Tidy up the bottoms. So that's what we're going to do next, is just work our way across, laying down the different colours of fibres to create a grassy background for the poppies. You see in these, there's a nice mix. Softer yellows at the bottom to sharper greens at the top. Usually when vegetation is growing, it will be greener at the top sometimes than it is at the bottom. I'm quickly just going to spread these across over this area. Again, that one is growing. That's the tips of that one. We leave that up at the top. I'm going to bring them down in the centre. I might actually add a tiny bit extra blue so we get a bit more of a dip in the centre. Add a little bit of blue extra in there. And allow us to give a bit of a dip into the centre of the work. And that's the beautiful thing about felt, and it's very easy to change your mind and add or take away bits of it. Again, you can lay your fibres down. With all of our pictures, colours are going to be slightly different every time because we're constantly dyeing new colours. So we're never going to have exactly the same colours out of the dye pots each time, but we generally would have quite similar. So that will give us most of the green. If you see, I've kind of dropped the fibres towards the centre. Quickly going to felt those in. One spot there we could probably do adding a bit more. And again on the side. So that is our background felted in. And that is the really easy, really quickly done part of the picture. When you add different shades of green to a background, you get quite an effective result. So you can see how it looks quite natural. So that's part one complete. So we have our background in completely now, and then we're going to start with the poppies. So for that, I'm using some of our own dyed wool, and this is in a shade called Vibrant Red. But the lovely thing about it is that if you look, you can see all the various shades are combined in it. So I'm just going to take a piece like that, and I'm going to lay that down for my first poppy, and we will place that one up in the sky. So I'm going to work around the edge, felt in the center, a little bit of stray green landed in there, a little bit of stray blue, get rid of those. You can see how with the natural fibres that we have hand dyed, you're getting all the variation of shades that you want without doing any really work with it. And I'm just giving some definition to the edge. Then I am going to take a darker piece of fibre. If we have some of the very dark, normally we would have black for this, but I forgot to take some over to the table. So we get away with very dark green. Actually, it is a shade of dark green that's in the center of your poppy. And we can add a tiny little bit of yellow as well, just highlight it. And I just take that and take it away. There we go. And that's our first poppy. So it's going to need a stem coming down. So again, I take a number of fibers and I can just twist them slightly. And wherever we think that stem should be, we'll just run it down into the grass area. And we're going to add the next flower. So the shape of them can be slightly different. Again, if I roll it, you can see where all the variations in shades are in it. And if we place that one slightly to the left. Again, work the center. Tighten up the edges. And that's that one added. So we'll take another one. I like this piece here, and it's got quite a good variation in shades going on. And we'll place that one out here. Again, tighten the center. Give some definition to the edge. And then run in some lines. We don't want to flatten those edges, we want to give the appearance of it growing. So we have 3 of them in. Put a smaller little piece out on further on the right just to carry the colour over. I've just rolled up. And stick that little one out there. And we still have some space to fill, so we can add them. We'll add a smaller one into the center. And one more is what is in our other picture. Now I have this one placed slightly lower. This is the beautiful thing about needle felting. I'm going to take that one and I'm going to place it up a little higher. So if you haven't over felted your work, you can actually lift it and move it. Yeah, and that gives us space then to put another one on the corner down here on the left. Give a bit more balance to our picture. And see where I'm almost deciding where the leaves should sit. Tightening in the edges and filling in the center. And they are our poppies in place. So the next thing I will do is I'll take some of that very dark green, or if you have black, and I'm going to place some colour in the center of them to make them pop. And you can see I lay it in loosely and then I felt it in to where I want it. I don't put in solid pieces of fibre because I find sometimes when the needle comes down on top of them, it can actually damage your needles and break them. So it's safer to put the fibres in nice and loosely. A little bit more detail. Now, so you can work away with them, tidy them up as you wish. You need to be very careful if you're using your needle to move fibres, because you don't want to put pressure on it or it could snap. So we have all of our poppies put into place, nice and vibrant and bright colours. And now I need to give them some stems. So I'm just going back to the greens again. Pull a long piece of fibre, give us some shape, start where you think, and actually that colour is quite near to our background, so we can go with something slightly darker for the other ones. So you want to try and pick a colour that's a little bit different to the background. Now we can put stems in by doing that. And if you want it the way that poppies, when the seeds fall off, you've got seed head remaining, we can put one of those in. So you can add your own detail as you wish to the picture. Now for the detail, I have just used some of these nice vibrant purples in a plum shade, and I can use them to make some flowers, just to add a little bit more colour to the picture. And again, I just twist them into a circle and felt them into place. Just add one or two of those. And I also have the same colour in our own wool. I'm just going to roll them. And because we have it left above the grass line, we'll put a stem. And a few white flowers, and that will be us finished. Again, I'm just picking some blocks. I don't want to open them too much to lose the texture on them. You see, even with them, I just take the fibres, run them into the center, and that is it. And how many more that we put in the original one? I'll just put one more down here, just balance it. And some more of the purple, and then I think we're done. Just going to add a little stem to this one. And it's And I think that is pretty much it. So this was our original poppy picture. And this is the one that we're after making together. So that is how I would make our poppy meadow picture. Again, I'm going to lift it off the mat. Sometimes that will bring up some fibers. Just going to tidy it up. They're going to be hidden by the mount in the frame. And that is us finished.